Jared Lutwich here. Welcome back. We are on our last competencies, and I chose to do it on critical thinking and information literacy. So we're going to start off with critical thinking, and that is when we have the ability to analyze and interpret insightfully and in depth. So, in layman's terms, when we're able to look at information and get what's being said out of it for us in a meaningful manner. So, one of the main points of critical thinking is evaluating the viewpoints of others. So it's not just important what you think, it's actually important what other people think too. People may know things that you don't, or they may have seen or understood something in a way that you may have never looked at it before. So for example, let's say you keep looking at something and you keep looking at it this way. You've always looked at it this way. And somebody says, hey, why don't we look at it this way? And you look at something from a different perspective, and you might find that you learn something completely new just by looking at something in a completely different way. You need to make sure what you know is either factual or opinionated. So people come up with things where they're very opinionated on stuff, and that's fine, but don't get it mixed up with being factual. Factual information is backed up by evidence. Opinions are backed up by beliefs. So, going back on looking on more than one view, you can use what's called a steel man or a straw man approach to an argument. The steel man is much less known and is a tactic when you're having a debate with somebody and you provide them with their strongest point and you defend what you're saying against that. Whereas straw manning is taking their argument, kind of misconstruing it, and making your argument better because of that. So those are two techniques that work very well in getting your point across. So another thing in critical thinking is deducting information from sources in a coherent manner. So when we're looking at sources to use in our work, we got to make sure that we're looking for the information that we need, and that the information that we need is done properly. So according to a study called Detection of Differential Item Functioning and Cornell Critical Thinking Test between Turkish and United States students, critical thinking is universal and doesn't change from culture to culture. So how we critically think here is how people think critically elsewhere. So we're going to move on to information literacy. And that involves the ability to identify, retrieve, evaluate, organize, cite properly, and use a wide range of resources. Now, that's including all different types of resources. So, in this day and age, many people just use internet sources because they're easy to find, and generally they're pretty accurate if you're looking in the right places. But books happen to be very, very reputable and good sources of information. Another place to look where books are, where people can help you, is a librarian. Librarians are very knowledgeable. They know the best places to look for information, and if you tell them the type of information you're looking for, they generally be able to point you in a really good direction, especially if you're stuck. So one of the important things is using reputable databases. So like the ones provided from Mercy Library. You don't want to be using like Wikipedia, for as far as as your lone sources. Now, Wikipedia I tend to use when I don't know something about a topic. I tend to use Wikipedia because it does have a lot of information on different things, but I don't use it per se for sources. I use it to find more information, and then I use a database like the Academic Search Planner that we have to further search what Wikipedia people have been saying. So there's an article called Arming Students Against Bad Information, and this talks about how to help with finding what information is real or fake. So nowadays there's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of false information out there, so it's really important to check everything that you're sourcing to make sure that it's credible and that you're using it properly in your work to help your work. So the resources that you find, you want to make sure they support your work. You don't want to use things that are going to go against your work. and you want to make sure that these sources help emphasize the point you're trying to get across. And you need to make sure, for sure, that everything that you're sourcing and all the information is properly sourced, and citations are a must. All you have to do is cite something. Just give the person the credit that you're using the work from, and put it in with your own. That's it. All you have to do is show where you got it from. So that's all I got for this. Thank you very much. Bye.